Quincy Department of Natural Resources is really happy to announce that the Environmental Treasures Program is back in 2022. It all kicks off on April 23rd with lessons from the pandemic. Not only is the program back, but its host, Sally Owen, is back, and she's here with us now to tell us all about it. Great to see you, Sally. So nice to see you in person.
Same here, Joe.
And it's back.
Yeah.
And you're back.
Yeah, we stopped in March 2020.
Okay. What was the last Environmental Treasures program, do you remember?
Well, we had one scheduled for March 2020. It was going to be going over to, with the landscape architect who designed Squantum Point Park. And like the day before the program, I was thinking about what's going on. I said, talk to the guy who was leading it, and we both decided we better cancel it. So
okay.
It hasn't happened. But I had a whole year's worth of programs in 2020, and I'll be bringing them back gradually.
Yeah. So there hasn't been one since then?
No.
Wow.
No.
So are you going to catch up with ones that you had planned, or you've developed a whole new
Well, there's
program?
always new things happening.
Yeah.
Like last year we acquired this new piece of property near the Deposit River. It's called Zero Harriet Avenue. And it allows access to the river, and people don't know about that.
Okay.
I mean, that's new. We just had that. So
Okay.
I want to do a tour where people go and see how, this wonderful trails and great views of the river.
Yeah, I know the city purchased it to prevent a development from moving in there.
Yeah, they've wanted it for years and years, and finally we're able to get it.
Okay, good.
So there's some new things, but
good.
also old things, and so.
Well, I think it's quite appropriate to kick off the Environmental Treasures Program on your Earth Day, right? It's Saturday, April 23rd at 10 a.m. called Lessons from the Pandemic. Before we talk about that, let's talk about the history of the Environmental Treasures Program, because that particular day, Earth Day, has a significant meaning, right?
My first tour in April 2020 was...
April 2000, you mean?
Yeah, excuse me.
Yeah.
April 2000, thanks, yeah.
Yeah.
It was, that was the very first tour, so it's going to be 22 years.
Wow.
That tour was enjoying the daffodils at the Quincy Adams Historic Site, the Adams Historic Site, that is,
Yeah,
yes. So.
Peacefield, as we love to call it.
Yeah, right.
Wow,
So
okay, so this is going to be...
It was pouring rain, but I had this thing, if you came like with more than one person in the car, or by, public transportation or bike or something, I'd give out a prize. So all these people showed up in the rain, and I didn't have I didn't have a way of contacting them if rain did. I didn't know what to do back then.
Yeah.
So we actually sat in there's a little shed, like a little greenhouse kind of thing. We were in there with a coal furnace that the guy had. And he was talking, so it was funny. So that was the start, yeah.
Yeah. How did you kind of come up with the idea? Or it started under the old Parks Department, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. I had been, traveling, going up the White Mountains and stuff for hiking, and realized that, that I should be trying to learn more about Quincy. So I didn't know that much about the nature in Quincy. In fact, initially, for the first few years, I hired people naturalists and different people like that to lead the tours.
Okay.
Because I didn't know anything. And so
Sure.
gradually I've learned about it and met all kinds of interesting people who've done great work in Quincy.
Yeah.
And, so it's been a really wonderful experience.
I bet. Yeah, you've learned
so.
a lot about your own home city, right? Yeah.
Right.
Before this, were you active in the environment at all, Sally? Or what was kind of your
I was on the
background?
recycling commission.
Okay. All right.
I always cared about the environment, loved walking in nature. Since I was a kid, I loved being out in the woods and stuff.
Yeah. Did you grow up in Quincy?
No. Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk about a whole different world.
Right.
From the bayou to the
yeah.
East Coast. Wow.
Right.
When did you come to Quincy?
I came to Quincy when I bought my house, 1985.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're a newbie.
I know. I'm not third generation, so it doesn't count.
That's right.
But there are people who have been here their whole lives.
I am sure.
They come on my tours and say, "Oh, I've been here my whole life, and I've never seen this place."
Even they are learning things.
Right.
So it's taking somebody from from New Orleans to show them their own city.
Yeah.
Neat.
Baton Rouge, not New Orleans.
Baton Rouge. Pardon me. Yes. We don't want to confuse those two. Since then, the Environmental Treasures Program, has run every year up until the pandemic, obviously.
Right.
Every month? Do you have something year
every
round?
month.
Really?
Every month, if it was like pouring rain or a blizzard or something like that, it would be rescheduled.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's rescheduled to the following month. but there was a program, 12 programs a year.
Okay. Any repeats, or is there enough going on?
No, there are repeats.
Yeah.
There are repeats, but frequently I'll go to the same place, but it'll be a different topic. Like
Sure.
it'll be birding one time, and other time it'll be on like salt marsh restoration or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And I would think if you go at different times of the year, there are different things happening at that same location, right?
That's what I found through
Yeah.
through the pandemic. I mean, that's the thing about lessons from the pandemic. Is
Yeah.
before, I would like go with my hiking buddy, and we'd travel like an hour through traffic to find some new place to hike we hadn't been. You know, this Salt Marsh Trail, where I'm going to be leading this tour in April, is a place I might have gone once or twice a year, even though I live nearby. And during the pandemic, I wasn't driving anywhere, and so I just started going on this trail, like frequently, more than once a week. And I ended up meeting Gene Mackey, whom I knew, but not well, who was, on the trail too, looking at birds. And so we decided we would get together once a week and look for birds and nature. And through that, I've really learned the richness of going on the same trail week after week and how it changes.
Yes. Yeah.
Birds come back, flowers bloom at different times. In fact, one of the things that hopefully will happen on this tour is there's a beautiful bush called the shad bush that has delicate white flowers. It blooms when the shad come upstream to spawn.
Oh.
And there are a lot of them on the Salt Marsh Trail, and they're just starting to, their buds are kind of getting bigger. So if we're lucky,
Okay.
the flowers will still be there when
All
the
right.
tour is happening.
Fun. Where is the Salt Marsh Trail? I mean,
It's on Finno Street,
Okay.
Near Andrews Road,
Okay.
near Beechwood No School,
Okay.
and very near the Quincy Shore Drive.
Okay. And where does
It
it?
abuts like Blacks Creek.
Yep. And where does it go? Where does the trail go?
It just is a circular trail
is, okay.
around the salt marsh. Going over to Blacks Creek, there's a osprey nest that's been there for years now, and every year the ospreys are back now, and they always, so we watch them every week as they
Okay.
sit on their nest and
You can't miss
wait
them.
for the
They're
eggs to
huge,
hatch.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. So they're back. We'll see them probably.
Okay.
Hunting for fish and things like that.
Yeah. Fun. So, what else have you been doing over the pandemic?
I've done a few different things that I never did before. I basically am seeing people outdoors. So I started a poetry group in my backyard, which I knew nothing about poetry, but I had this $2.50 textbook I had bought at Barnes & Noble years ago and had never opened. And so this friend of mine and I used to go into Boston to cultural events, art museums, and things like that. We weren't going to get on the T anymore. So I said, okay, why don't we learn about poetry? So we got in my backyard, and then I was biking around town and talking to other people, and they found that I was at a poetry. Oh, can we join? I love poetry. So we now have like 7 people in the group,
Okay.
and none of us knew much about poetry before. And every week, a different person's in charge of finding 2 poems to read. Everyone has a totally different type of poetry they like.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of variety.
Yeah.
So, and you get to know people on a different level when you're like discussing death and sorrow and like
All the topics that poetry can involve.
all the life. It's different than if you're just walking down the street with someone.
Right.
So it's very interesting that way. And I've also gotten into meditation, and I have this walking meditation group with a few people, and every Friday we walk for about an hour and motivate each of us to keep meditating.
Okay.
And then I have my birding group that's once a week. So.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's been fun.
So some good things have come out of
Yeah,
what's been a tragic
I mean,
situation.
there's so many tragic things that have happened. But when life gives you lemons, you got to try to make lemonade.
Yeah. Do you think those things will continue post-pandemic in,
Oh yeah,
in your
yeah,
life?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. They're really a part of my life now, as these other people too.
Yeah.
We're really all invested in this.
Yes, yeah. So tell me a little bit about the tour on the 23rd. How will it work?
So you need to register
Okay.
at sowen@quincyma.gov. I'm trying to limit the size of the group to a manageable size, so it's going to be 25 people.
Okay.
First come, first serve, and I will give the information about where to meet and what to bring to the people who actually come on the tour.
Okay.
And so we'll meet, and then Gene Mackey and I will lead the tour, and we'll discuss the really amazing things that we have seen. I'm actually going to have photos of, like, one of the really cool things. I didn't realize there were Baltimore Orioles in Quincy, but they build these, like, kind of nests that are like this, and they hang off of a tree, and they're orange and black, very colorful birds. So there's a bunch of Baltimore Orioles around this area.
Interesting. Okay.
So I haven't seen them back yet. They're going to come back soon.
Okay.
So I'll have like a photo of what their nest looks like. I'll show you where we saw the nest and what the Oriole looks like. We found cavities where downy woodpeckers were, feeding their young. I saw a great horned owl in a pine tree.
Really?
We saw raccoons sleeping up on another tree. And the ospreys, we've watched them from mating all the way through the babies coming out. And for like a year and a half, we never saw any mushrooms or fungi at all on this trail. And then after this rainstorm, sometimes in the summertime we don't even go down there because there's so many mosquitoes.
Yes, yeah.
And someone told me, like, there was a ton of mushrooms. So we put on tons of insect repellent, and we went down there, and it was like transformed. This place that I'd gone to for a year and a half, there must have been like 200 different kinds of mushrooms there, and all different colors, types of mushrooms I never had seen. I mean, it was like crazy. You put on so much insect repellent, and I wasn't going to go back again to look another day. It was too bad,
Yes.
But it was just amazing.
Interesting.
So it just shows you, like, you can go there and you just never know, no matter how often. If you've been there a year and a half and you've never seen something, and then suddenly you can see this fantasy world.
Yeah. So is it like it's kind of a walk and talk type tour?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It's going to be. We'll go at a slow pace and stop and talk, and then walk some more, and also invite people to share any lessons they've learned or discoveries of nature during the pandemic as well.
Oh,
So
all right. Very nice. About how long do you think the whole tour will last?
It'll probably take an hour to an hour and a half.
Okay.
Because people like to talk, and we go at a slow pace. So,
Right.
yeah, so.
Okay. And it's for all abilities, all levels, would you say? Is it accessible to most people?
It's not accessible if you're in a wheelchair.
Okay, all right.
It's fairly flat, but there are roots from trees and things like
okay.
that. So, I'll provide information for the people who do
When they register?
When they register,
Okay.
yeah.
But
so.
suffice to say, a sturdy pair of walking shoes is
Right,
appropriate.
right,
Yeah.
It's muddy and can be muddy and wet in certain places.
This time of
too.
year, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Now, the salt marsh itself, was there not just a recent restoration project, or is there one ongoing?
Not there.
Not there. Okay.
You might be I don't know of any salt marsh restoration in Quincy.
Okay.
I know that they restored Sailor's Home Pond,
Yes.
which is in a salt marsh, where they're going to have a turtle release in the afternoon. There was a salt
Butler's
marsh.
Pond, I think.
Yes, thanks, Butler's. Yeah, there was a salt marsh restoration a bunch of years ago over at behind Broadmeadow School.
Oh, sure. Yes.
Passamaquoddy.
Yep.
But
Yep.
that's the only salt marsh restoration I know about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this salt marsh in pretty good shape, would you say, the one that you're going to tour?
Yes, it's pretty good shape.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
There are tide gates that
Yes.
close it up, which ideally is not good for salt marshes.
Right.
They have that for the sailing program, but there's all kinds of, requirements of like when they have to close it, when they have to open it, what the tide's going to be.
Yeah.
So they're trying to balance not having land flood upstream, having room for the boating program, but also trying to protect the salt marsh. But it's,
Yes.
if it was today, they never would have been able to put in those tide gates, but they've been there forever. So,
Right. Yeah,
so-
exactly. Okay. So again, you want folks to email you to
Yeah,
register.
if
for
you
this
want to
particular-
register,
Yep.
and SON@quincyma.gov.
Okay.
And also, if they want to, even if they can't come
Mm-hmm.
on this tour, if they would like to get on the email list for subsequent tours, we're having one every month.
Okay.
Then they also can just send me a note at SON@quincyma.gov, and I will put them on the email list to notify them of future tours.
Great. Okay. Is there any cost, Sally, for?
No,
this?
it's free.
It's free. Okay.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's open to anyone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little preview of what might be coming up later this year?
Well, I'm working on, I think I told you, the one about the acquisition of Zero Harriet Avenue and
Yep.
all these new trails that
Yep.
people don't know about that take you out to the Neponset River near the Milton line. And then there's Wayne Miller has written a book on shipbuilding in Quincy, the history, and he's going to be leading a tour sometime later this year of sites where there was shipbuilding and talking about the history of shipbuilding.
Oh,
in
all
Quincy.
right.
Yeah. And
And
many others,
many
but
others.
so far I'm just dealing with this one,
One
starting
at a
it back
time.
up again. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it's great that the program's coming back.
Yeah.
You can share your experiences. I'm sure other folks will have individual experiences that they've had over the course of the past 2 years as well. Is there I hate to ask, but it's April. Is there a rain date?
Yeah, I will note. Well, that's the great thing about registering.
Okay.
Because the people who register, I have their emails and I will notify
You'll
them
contact
if we need to have a rain date. Yeah.
Usually the day before you can judge whether or not it's going to be bad
Yeah.
enough. That you
Well, I
have
mean,
to
if I have
change
their emails, I can even tell them like at 8 o'clock that morning.
Right.
The morning.
Oh, true. Okay.
Depending on how, serious. If it's going to be like a major storm or something,
Right,
then
right.
I'll know in advance.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right. Anything
So-
else we should let folks know about right now?
Can't think of anything.
Okay, well, it's a great way. It's Lessons from the Pandemic, the Environmental Treasures Program, Saturday, April 23rd at 10 a.m. Kicking off the program after a 2-year hiatus. So it is back, and Sally is back, and hopefully good weather is back too.
Yeah. It's great weather today.
Yes, it is. Thanks so much, Sally. Great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
You are very welcome. And thank you for watching us here at AM Quincy. Please join us again next time.